I'm Karina. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I connected with Cheryl. I reached out to Cheryl about a week or two ago, and I kind of we both have this same vision of hear me, see me. These women veterans. It's Women's History Month, and it's also I believe last week was Governor Newsom of California awarded or something like that, gave us a week of women, representing and honoring women who have served. And so the timing couldn't have been more perfect, right? So I joined the military when I was in my early 20s after I did some community college work, and I did serve for 3 years active duty and about 6 years in the reserve. So total time is about 10 years. And my role in the Air Force was an avionics technician. And my taking it back a little bit, like I remember a few things throughout my time in the service, and one of the things I do remember was how I chose Air Force. When I went into the recruiting office, the decision to make decision to join the Air Force wasn't done lightly. I knew I wanted to go to school and be an engineer. And so I knew one of the alternative routes to take is to join the military. My girlfriend's mom was talking to me about that. And so she helped me come to that conclusion. And I thought it wouldn't hurt to try and take that leap and see how it goes, right? One heck of a trip 10 years later. The recruiter was a female, and the office had all three of the 4 or 5 branches there, and the recruiters kind of 1, 2, 3 in front of me were asking me at the same time, almost in unison, like a orchestra. Well, welcome to our office. So what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be an engineer. And then the other 2 branches kind of just like backed away, and the Air Force recruiter put her arm around me and she goes, come with me, like guiding me to her desk. And I think there's some mutual agreement there that oh, you take the smart ones or something. That there's those sayings of Air Force is the smart force and things like that, but they also say chair force. And I'm not mad at that. So I'll happily sit in a chair. Most of my work in the military was done in airplanes, in, open fields of airfields. Going through tech school was, I wouldn't say a walk in the park. I'm used to difficult things and doing, hard tasks. But the culture started becoming apparent very, very quickly. Boot camp was actually, very neutral experience for me. It was just, difficult. You experience difficulty in challenges for yourself, and it's an opportunity for you to grow. So that wasn't a big problem. It was the culture when I started getting to tech school. I was so-called heard of before I made it to my first duty station, because in that world I made a big stink of a situation where I was one or maybe one of 2 female classmates in a room full of men, and I'm on the tech school on the midnight shift. It's the schooling house that's open in the night hours. And so nighttime is like anywhere from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's when I'm learning. And it was just I was learning. I was an unhealthy person myself. I was learning about boundaries. Everyone has their story. My story is of neglect, abuse, emotional, physical, mental. And so I had my own lessons to learn, and that's what I'm thankful for. One of the things I'm thankful for in the Air Force is it gave me the opportunity to grow and grow on my own. And afterwards, I'm able to use the VA mental health for any of the resources I can use, right? But going back to, the schoolhouse incident, I protested. I had, my boundary infringed upon. I was, lewd comments were made towards me, and I just lost it. And I just got so upset, and I just started tearing into this guy like a freaking, training instructor. And, everyone went silent in the room. I'm just beet red, and no one came to my defense, but no one reprimanded me either. And so it just became apparent that I needed to figure out how to navigate this new world because I wasn't seen as an equal.
You bring up you bring up something here.
Yeah.
Now, the military is one of the few places in our society where women and men are paid equally. Same pay, equal work, same rank, equal work, all that. Everything is supposedly equal. But still, now I was in the Army from 1968 to 1971. I was in the Women's Army Corps. And the things that the women are allowed to do now are incredible because we only dreamed of it. Now everything is open to you. But having said that, it's still the old boys club.
I wouldn't say yet. I mean, I believe things are changing. It's a yes and or yes but. Um, so I think what it was is the culture there. It just fostered more of this boy clubness. But these guys weren't really genuine friends with each other. Like, I was observing they gossiped more than women would. I came from a industry where I was working, in a woman dominated industry in the spa, industry with my family. And so I've, had extensive years of being around women, and now I'm surrounded by men. And these guys gossiped more than the women ever did. And at least I kind of joke that, two things about the military. Yeah, if you ever want secrets to be known, just join, because like these guys just, chicken heads just keep squawking. And then, two, I call the military Never Never Land, the boys that never grow up, because when they join when they're 18 and 19 years old. And who do they look up to for anything? Is the 40-year-olds who also joined when they were 18 and 19 years old. And so that culture never breaks that chain. And when I made it to my first duty station, I pointed that out, every time. Or it was an uphill battle, and I learned to pick my battles and just know that I just can't pick it with that unit or that base or the Air Force for that matter. But I learned to, at first I was, making a point like you couldn't get away with this in the civilian world. And you know what the answer was almost 100% of the time? Their answer was, well, you're in the military, you're not in the civilian, so deal with it. And it just said so much about them. It said so much about the culture they were willing to foster versus my standards and what I'm used to. And it says to what they're used to. They're used to treating women like dirt. And I'm not saying everyone, but human nature is to remember some of the hurtful things. And I do want to balance that with some of the positive things. Like, I do have, a handful of gal pals and guy friends that, you know, looking back, we've, commiserated, and they're like, yeah, my last name is Passy. So we talk, to each other with our last name. So I remember one of my guy friends, he said, Passy, they did you wrong. And because of your experience, I'm trying to right that wrong with my soldiers. Now he's trying to be the change he wants to see in his Air Force, right? So it wasn't, for naught, but I just, um, not everything is terrible. This was just my experience. These are my opinions, and my mentality then is different now, and it's going to be different in the future. And so this is just a snapshot of where I'm at right now.
Well, I'm very interested in the career field you chose, avionics, because it's such a technical field. So, was someone in your family in the Air Force? Was there someone that was a pilot, or was there someone that you knew that influenced your decision to join the Air Force and become that? And also, um, are you a pilot and or are you a student pilot?
Great questions. So I don't know if I had any influence or not. If there was, I'm just not quite sure if I'm aware of it yet. But I do recall my gal pal's mom, just, coaching me through my options of, my passion of wanting to go to school and become an engineer and, kind of be the change I want to see. And so, I'm not aware of that yet. So that's the best answer I have right now. And why I didn't get to necessarily choose avionics. It kind of chose me.
You're an engineer. And I know
Not yet. Not
well,
yet.
you're working on it. You're working on it. You're taking one class at a time, and that's something that we're going to talk about. But I also know that you're very much into STEM. And I'd like for you to speak to that, especially because you are a woman in a male dominated occupation. And I don't think there's any more male dominated occupation than engineers.
I don't know either. But two things to your point. The times is it just is, with the way of equality, and I do have some sentiments about equality. It's not necessarily, you know, to say that we are all equal. We just have bring something different to the table. I think we should have more equal opportunities. And I didn't have the opportunity to deploy. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that decision. I'm still a soldier all the same. I still did my time. I still did the work. Um, but that was them not trusting me or my capabilities, or I was a threat to them in some way, whether it's their ego or whatever, and they made sure that those paperworks weren't signed, and that's okay. That, again, that's on them. I wanted to travel more, and my last name Passi means passport in Finnish, and so it's just meant to be. I need to travel. And so I ended up getting out of active duty and reserve and went to school full time. And I got burnt out taking, calculus and chemistry and physics. Each class was 5 units, that's 15 units. And anybody who knows any of those classes knows how difficult they can be. And so, I burnt out, using the GI Bill, trying to make ends meet during the summer and winters. I ended up taking 5 to 7 part-time jobs to make ends meet. And, I just wasn't successful that method. And I ended up, fast forwarding through a couple of jobs here, stayed in the aviation industry, and I was leaving a job, and my reason for leaving that job, was I just knew I needed to thrive somewhere else. And so again, with the motto, be the change you want to see, I want to be a female in STEM. I want to be, representing female engineers. I want to be representing, minorities of all kinds, uplifting all kinds of challenge, people who are challenged, like society's challenging them and saying you can't do this. And I wanted, kind of say yes, yes you can. And some of the things I had to do is not very popular. There's a saying, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Well, that includes books, that includes apps, that includes YouTube, podcasts. And so if you're watching, this continuous drama cycle and you're feeding that, that's what you're going to get more of. And so I had to actually get off platforms and reallocate and reinvest my time in my studies. I had to stop hanging out with certain people. I had to stop going to webinars. I realized I was learning more on my own than what any webinar could provide me. And you have to make that judgment call, but those were non-value added activities in VA for me. And so I joined the military with the end in mind, and I got out and continued in my STEM engineering pursuits. But I noticed when I was getting out, I was really close to another degree, and the other degree is aviation maintenance. And so I am actually double majoring in aviation maintenance and electronic system engineering, which ends up being a fantastic combination because I got the opportunity to interview for this mystery job. I got a phone call when I was leaving, and I call her my genie moment. And she asked me pretty much what are my three wishes, what how in this next work environment that I can't tell you about, how would you like to be? And I said, out of frustration, I want them to listen to me. I want them to utilize my lean six sigma continuous improvement stuff. And I just want a healthy culture to be in. And lo and behold, I'm in this amazing drone unmanned aerial systems industry. And I am one of only a handful of women in this industry. And I really hope that this podcast can reach a lot of women to jump on this opportunity, because this aviation industry is an old industry. And just like the military, they go hand in hand. And this is the time for us to jump in and create a new standard. And what I mean by that is um, all these jobs are, they're almost pandemic. STEM jobs are usually pandemic and, fluctuation resistant. And so they're very secure jobs, especially if you have EQ and you're a good coworker. That kind of helps. Um, so we're at a zero point with all these jobs that are coming to the field. And already, because they're qualified, these qualified people are jumping on this opportunity and making this transition into drone or unmanned systems. And there's just not enough people. And I really believe this is an opportunity for women to jump in. They are offering training, some of these employments. You can ask for training. If you don't know how to do it, but you said, hey, I'm willing to learn, some of these companies will provide you training. And you asked a question earlier if I was a pilot. I'm a Part 107 FAA certified pilot. That means I can fly unmanned aerial vehicles. And so, yes, I am a pilot, and it's kind of odd to say. It's exciting. I was out flying Wednesday, these, ginormous beasts. I call them beasts because they're so, they're almost as big as me sometimes with their arms spread out, and their propellers are, ginormous, and they have huge landing gear, and it's exciting stuff. I think it's very relatable to avionics. It's transferable skills, and the discipline is there, from the military. I think a lot of women, if anything, have an edge over some of the men because of our dexterity and physical. Men are stronger, sometimes they're, bigger guys. Women are sometimes smaller, and we're smaller in our fingers. And where do we need to work? We need to work in tight little spaces, and we have all these assets. And I just would like to shout from the rooftop, everyone come join. This is the opportunity we've been waiting for, and we can all be the change you want to see. If we want to be, a person of color, we want to be a person of gender or religion, whatever it is, this is the time to jump in on that. It's a zero point. They're taking everyone.
And what are some of the exciting things that they are doing with these drone, unmanned, or manned systems? What is the future for that? Because, we know about Amazon and and they're trying to have the drone delivery. What other applications are happening or forecast in that industry?
So I'm going to speak globally here and not specifically to the US, just because sometimes other countries are ahead or behind the US, and it's just easier for me to just make you aware industry wide what it is, no matter what country or state it's in. Um, we are already doing delivery of food, delivery of medicine, and it's streamlining the process. We're, continuously looking as a society to streamline safety, to streamline, make things faster. We're impatient people. Time is money. Let's get going. And across a hospital campus, we're able to, let's say the labs are in different buildings for whatever reason, they're able to load up a vehicle on this side of the campus and then fly it to the other side. If you're a hiker, I mean, this Zoom, background is mountains. If you're a hiker and you need help, if it's going to take a while for someone to climb up there. It's going to take some skill for, a pilot, a helicopter to, but if you just need medical assistance to get by, you just fly a vehicle up there and drop off the package to get you the necessities you need. In I think South Africa, and I don't know if it's also in I don't know what other countries, but Switzerland also, they're doing a lot of deliveries. They're also planting trees. They're having these vehicles do agriculture. They're also inventorying the crop productions. They're doing so many things, and this is leading up to unmanned aerial transportation. There's already vehicles being tested where you would get in a vehicle, and let's say it's an autonomous driving car. It would drive you like an Uber or Lyft from your house to the airport, and then this rotor type of device would just mount onto the top, and then it would just take you autonomously to your next location. This is the future, and it's already happening now, and we're already seeing airports being modified for this type of transportation. I mean, imagine Dallas Fort Worth, that's the biggest airport I can think of right now. Have you gone around that beast? Like, that is taking some time. Like, you got to plan to move from one point to the other in that airport. And just imagine if there was just a lift or teleportation type of device, being the UAV, that you just hop in and it just hops you over, and it just keeps going back and forth. I think this is exciting. It's gonna last for a long time. The aviation, the engine was our next breakthrough in aviation, or the most recent. This is the next big thing, and this is also assisting with our space exploration. I don't know if you know about I think it's Inspire, Perseverance, and Insperity, or something like that.
Perseverance?
Perseverance.
The one on Mars?
Yes, but there's also a unmanned aerial vehicle, flying drone on Percy. Yeah, I think it's yeah, I'm blanking out right now. I'm so excited, but yeah, so that's also assisting in exploration.
I wish I was like 20 or 30 years younger, because I'm fascinated by the world of drones and the way they use it in TV and film production now. And you see it in these fantastic, you see them do these flyovers that in the past would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to film from an airplane or a helicopter, and now they can film it with a $200 zoom. I mean, a $200 drone is what I meant to say.
Yeah, no. The show Game of Thrones?
Pardon me?
You know the show Game of Thrones?
Yes. Do you have the Game of Drones?
Uh, that's a good one. No, I wish. But there was drones that were used, to film and record that footage, and it's being used, like you said, all the time now. It's all the time. And that's great. Like it's wonderful. It's saving a lot of time and money, and bringing a new aspect of creativity to that space, right? Before, when you do plays, everything's from this eye level, or if you're looking up to a stage, you had to play to your audience. But now your audience can be everywhere, and you can be put your audience where you want them to see from. So if they're in a drone, the camera's there, and now you get to see this footage. So it's really neat stuff. And drones has, just like all of us, when you go online, it has an image issue. And it's not the issue of drone tech itself. It's two things: fear and criminals. So just like tools that can be used by anybody, don't it's sad to hear when people demonize drones because a select few criminals decide to misuse it. I don't hear about chefs going to jail because they, forked someone and now we're like out of forks. It's a technology that's going to bring so much to the table. And this is an opportunity for women and minorities to jump on and to thrive in. Like this is it. Like this is the call to action. Like the first step to getting in a position like this is reaching out to these companies, making the ask, and asking, what do I need, or can you offer that training to me? I'm willing to learn. They are looking for manpower. They're looking for the people. And then to my, STEM, female in STEM, if you're looking to make a switch, like they need engineers, they need electronic technicians, they need these these people. Is we just gotta show up, continue to show up, ask for help, and just jump in. And if you think you need to fail, fail big, fail so big, because you're gonna still come out and succeed at the other end. And I really hope that someone takes away some message here that this is your sign.
This is your sign, and never give up.
Never give up.
Karina, thank you. And we'll be talking soon. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cheryl.
You bet. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you.